Up next, a long-running comic strip that is drawn here. The artist and her characters have become counterculture icons.
You know, they shop at the co-op and they're gardening in the backyard and driving their Subarus around.
And Cokie Roberts delivers the commencement address at St. Michael's College.
Having put 2 children through college and they are now all grown up and having to worry about their own children is so wonderful.
Well, graphic novels are now quite popular in publishing. They are full-length books that borrow the look of comic books.
But they can address subject matter that you won't find in the funny pages. That's the case with a book that was drawn here. A Vermont artist's career has spanned more than a quarter century in comics, and as Jack Thurston tells us, she found community through cartooning.
For many artists, solitary confinement is just another day at the office. Long hours, scratching out a living, alone.
Do I look like a monk in a monastery? Sometimes that's what I feel like.
But if isolation is what Alison Bechtel chose for her career,
I just always loved drawing.
It's also why she chose it.
It's just important to see yourself reflected in the world.
In college, she acknowledged and accepted she was a lesbian, but appreciating it was difficult. She rarely found mass media role models who looked like her or who shared her experiences.
I wanted to see that.
So she used her self-taught drawing skills to launch the comic strip Dykes to Watch Out For. It's an illustrated soap opera with mostly lesbian characters who struggle, laugh, debate the day's issues, and age together.
People really liked it. You know, it had a very loyal, small but loyal following for many years.
Now 25 years old, the strip appears in 50 publications nationwide, mostly gay and lesbian newspapers, and Burlington's alternative weekly, 7 Days.
I prefer the more like grassroots, do-it-yourself kind of culture.
The Pennsylvania native was drawn here to Bolton in 1991.
I love living in Vermont because I can not only live in the country, but have a pretty, you know, a very socially progressive atmosphere.
And that atmosphere inspires her work.
I now declare you joined in civil union.
Following the state's landmark civil unions law, some of Bechtel's characters took a trip north for a ceremony. The two-tone drawings addressed issues that here were anything but black and white. As the couple drove past Take Back Vermont signs, just as the artist did in her daily life, the women were reminded acceptance of civil unions was far from unanimous.
I think my audience has gotten a lot broader. I think there's a lot of men who read it, a lot of just politically progressive people who read it who aren't necessarily gay or lesbian.
That's driven sales of Dykes to Watch Out For anthologies, more than 250,000 copies in several languages. Still, Bechtel's success was mostly underground, until
a story that I've wanted to tell for a long time.
Fun Home.
It's a very complex story about growing up with my closeted gay dad.
Her illustrated memoir spent 2 weeks atop the New York Times nonfiction bestseller list, earning glowing reviews from mainstream magazines, including Time and Entertainment Weekly. Proof cartoons aren't just for kids.
Because comics have pictures, they've been perceived as lowbrow, as, you know, anti-intellectual, as just sort of for children. But there's this great potential to tell really complex, nuanced, new kinds of narratives.
Her drawings don't just illustrate the story, they push it forward. While Alison and her father discuss homosexuality, the reader sees both their strained dialogue and its impact on the Bechtels' faces. Linking text and pictures animates this car ride and the awkward coming out conversation.
Making a story out of everyday life.
Bechtel is now working on another full-length book about her love life.
But I like the challenge I have working autobiographically.
It'll mean scaling back Dykes to Watch Out For from a bi-monthly to a monthly. Fun Home took 7 years to produce, but this new project is due in 2009.
But I think I can do it. I just have to really knuckle down.
Spending more long hours in her studio alone, but she no longer feels socially isolated.
It's become much more easy to be gay.
In part because of more media representation now than ever. Representation she's helped grow.
I can just lose myself doing this.
To the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender communities, this cartoonist is a superhero. Jack Thurston, Channel 3 News, in Bolton.
Alison Bechdel's book, Fun Home, made headlines last year when it was yanked from a Missouri library because of its adult themes. Some complained that that was censorship, and the book was returned to the shelves this spring. Tonight at 11, meet a Chittenden County man who leaves his readers laughing each morning.